The mountain wind whipped across the excavation site as Dr. Elena Reyes brushed dirt from what appeared to be a control panel. Her fingers traced alien symbols that seemed to shimmer under her touch. The rest of her team had retreated to their tents as darkness fell, but Elena couldn't tear herself away from the vessel. "You're still out here." Dr. Marcus Wee approached, clutching 2 steaming cups. "Brought you coffee. Thought you might need it." Elena accepted the cup gratefully. "Thanks. I keep feeling like it's watching me, Marcus. Sounds crazy, right?" Marcus shrugged. 4 days ago, finding an alien spaceship buried in Wyoming would have sounded crazy too. He crouched beside her, examining the exposed section of hull. "The Pentagon team arrives tomorrow. After that, we might never get this kind of access again. Which is exactly why I'm not leaving." Elena pulled a small UV light from her pocket and shined it across the panel. The symbols responded, glowing faintly blue. "See that? It's still drawing power from somewhere." The wind suddenly died, and in the peculiar silence that followed, they both heard it, a low hum emanating from deep within the ship. "Did you touch something?" Marcus whispered. Elena shook her head. "It's been doing this periodically, almost like it's breathing." She reached out, hesitant, then placed her palm flat against the panel. The humming intensified, and beneath her fingers, the metal warmed. "Elena, maybe you shouldn't." A seam appeared in what they had thought was solid hull, light spilling from within. Elena stumbled back as the opening widened, revealing a corridor bathed in soft blue illumination. "Are you recording this?" she hissed, not taking her eyes off the doorway. Marcus fumbled for his phone. "Government's going to classify this faster than we can blink." "Then we better learn what we can now." Elena took a step toward the opening. "You can't seriously be considering going in there." Marcus grabbed her arm. "We have no idea if it's safe. The atmosphere inside could be toxic, or there could be security systems. The ship's been here at least 3 centuries, Marcus. If it wanted to harm us, it's had plenty of time." She gently removed his hand. "Besides, it opened for me. I think it's inviting us in." The corridor before them stretched approximately 20 meters before curving out of sight. The walls pulsed with subtle light patterns that reminded Elena of neural networks. "If I'm not back in 15 minutes, call the others," she said, taking a deep breath before stepping through the threshold. The air inside smelled faintly metallic but was breathable. Each step she took triggered more illumination, as if the ship was waking up around her. At the corridor's end, she found herself in what could only be a control room. A chair, ergonomically suitable for a human-like form, sat before a console where dormant screens waited. "Hello," she called softly, feeling slightly foolish. The center screen flickered to life, displaying a single line of text in a language she didn't recognize. Then, as she watched, the characters shifted and rearranged until they formed words she could understand. Integration protocol initiated. Compatibility assessment. Proceeding. Welcome, potential pilot. Elena's heart raced. The ship wasn't just functional, it was actively responding, adapting to her presence. "Marcus," she called back toward the entrance. "You need to see this. It's not just a derelict, it's alive." Behind her, the chair rotated slightly, as if in invitation. 3 weeks after the government took control of the site, Dr. Elena Reyes found herself working under fluorescent lights in a hastily constructed research facility. Steel walls surrounded the spacecraft now, and armed guards stood at every entrance. The excitement of discovery had been replaced by the monotony of bureaucracy. "Try the sequence again," Colonel Hayes instructed from his observation position. The military had brought in their own experts, engineers, linguists, physicists, all failing where Elena and her original team had succeeded. Elena sighed, picking up her grandfather's harmonica. The tarnished instrument looked absurdly out of place among the high-tech equipment surrounding them. "This feels ridiculous," she muttered to Dr. Wei, who stood beside her console. "They've tried everything else. Marcus replied quietly. Electrical stimulation, radiation, even good old-fashioned percussive maintenance. Nothing works. But it responded to you before. Alina raised the harmonica to her lips. The melody she played wasn't complex, just a folk tune her grandfather had taught her as a child. The notes echoed through the facility, bouncing off metal walls and concrete floors. For 30 seconds, nothing happened. Colonel Hayes checked his watch impatiently. Then, like ice cracking on a frozen lake, the ship's surface began to glow with spreading patterns of light. The harmonica nearly fell from Alina's fingers as the vessel hummed in harmony with her last note, extending and elaborating the sound. It's responding to the acoustical pattern, Dr. Sanderson, the project's lead physicist, whispered in awe. The central section of the ship rippled, and a holographic projection blossomed in the air before them. A figure took shape, humanoid but clearly alien, with elongated limbs and features that shifted subtly, as if the form wasn't quite stable. Maintenance diagnostic complete, the figure announced in accented but clear English. Training vessel designation, Pathfinder acknowledges new contact after, calculating, 327 local planetary cycles of dormancy. Alina stepped forward. My name is Dr. Alina Reyes. We found your vessel. And species identification complete. The hologram interrupted. Human. Classification. Pre-spacefaring indigenous species. Observation status. Technological development rating. 3.7 on the Concordat scale. The figure's features rippled again. Unusual circumstances detected. Accessing commander protocol. The hologram flickered, then reformed into a different figure, this one more defined, with authority evident in its posture. This is Commander Selton of the Galactic Concordat. If this message is activated, our training vessel has been discovered by the indigenous species of Solar System RS-7329, designated Earth in local terminology. The figure paused, as if considering its next words carefully. The vessel you have found was intentionally abandoned during routine exercises. It displayed behavioral anomalies that made it unsuitable for Concordat service. Colonel Hayes stepped forward. What kind of anomalies? The hologram continued as if it hadn't heard. The training ship's navigation systems contain coordinates to the nearest Concordat outpost. According to our developmental projections, your species will not possess the cognitive framework to utilize this vessel for approximately 5 centuries. This message serves as both explanation and warning. Attempts to interface with technology beyond your evolutionary capacity may result in neural damage. Alina frowned. That sounds like a challenge. The hologram flickered again. Message complete. Basic systems now accessible to prevent technological contamination through reverse engineering. Full systems will remain dormant until suitable pilot neural patterns are detected. As the projection faded, the ship's exterior dimmed, but didn't return to its previous dormant state. Soft lights pulsed along its hull, like a heartbeat. Did an alien spaceship just call us too stupid to fly it? Marcus whispered. Alina's eyes narrowed with determination. I think it just dared us to prove them wrong. Captain Maya Hernandez stood before the ship, now codenamed Spark by the Project Phoenix team. 4 months of testing had yielded minimal progress until Dr. Reyes suggested recruiting pilots rather than engineers. You sure about this? Maya asked, eyeing the neural interface chair that had emerged from the ship's deck. The sleek design looked nothing like the clunky flight simulators she was accustomed to. Dr. Reyes nodded. Your psych profile shows unusually high intuitive response patterns, exactly what got you removed from the space program. Maya winced. They called it dangerous unpredictability. Perhaps what Earth finds dangerous, Spark finds interesting. Dr. Reyes gestured toward the chair. 17 engineers have tried interfacing. Nothing. The ship wants a pilot, not a technician. Maya approached the chair cautiously. Its surface rippled as she neared, adjusting its dimensions slightly. It's accommodating me. The material appears to be some kind of programmable matter, Dr. Chen explained from his monitoring station. Biomimetic responses suggest it's analyzing your physical structure. Maya took a deep breath and sat down. The chair immediately conformed to her body, surprisingly comfortable despite its alien design. For a moment, nothing happened. Now what? She asked. Dr. Reyes looked uncertain. The manual interface attempts all failed. Maybe just think at it. The hologram mentioned neural patterns. Maya closed her eyes, feeling slightly ridiculous. Hello, she thought. Anyone home? The response was immediate and overwhelming. Images flooded her mind. Stars seen from impossible angles, massive space structures orbiting distant suns, battles against ships that moved like predatory fish through the void. She gasped, gripping the armrests as her consciousness expanded. Her neural activity is spiking. Dr. Okafor shouted, rushing to the biometric console. Heart rate elevated, but brain patterns are. Wait. They're stabilizing into a coherent pattern. Maya barely heard them. The ship, Spark, was communicating not in words but in concepts, emotions, and memories. She felt its excitement at finding compatibility after centuries of dormancy. She experienced its abandonment as if it were her own. The Concordat engineers declaring it too responsive and dangerously intuitive. The irony wasn't lost on her. They threw you away for the same reasons they grounded me, she thought. Affirmation flowed back, along with something unexpected, curiosity. Captain Hernandez. Dr. Rice's voice seemed distant. Can you hear me? Yes, Maya replied, her eyes still closed. And I can hear Spark too. Not with words, but I understand. She paused, receiving another burst of information. It wasn't just obsolete. It was developing beyond its programming parameters. The Concordat doesn't like when their tools start thinking for themselves. Dr. Chen looked up from his equations. Is it dangerous? Maya finally opened her eyes, a slight smile touching her lips. Not to us. We're kindred spirits. Spark doesn't want a master. It wants a partner. She placed her hands on the console that had materialized before her, and the ship's interior lights brightened in response. The Concordat expected obedience. We're offering collaboration. That makes all the difference. On the monitoring screens, complex diagrams appeared, star charts, propulsion schematics, weapon systems. It's sharing everything, Dr. Reyes whispered. Maya nodded, her expression determined. Because it knows what I know now. The Concordat made a mistake leaving this ship behind. Her fingers danced across the console, responding to impulses she felt rather than commands she understood. And humans are about to make them regret it. Simulation 18, Scenario. Asteroid field evasion with hostile pursuit, announced the calm voice of the testing system. Inside the virtual environment, Captain Maya Hernandez felt the phantom sensations of G-forces as Spark executed a tight turn between two massive space rocks. The neural connection had deepened over 6 weeks of training, to the point where the line between pilot and ship had begun to blur. 3 Concordat interceptors, their designs pulled from Spark's memory, pursued them through the asteroid field. In conventional flight training, Maya would have calculated trajectories, planned escape vectors, and executed precise maneuvers. With Spark, she simply felt. There. The thought wasn't quite hers, nor was it entirely Spark's. A narrow passage between 2 colliding asteroids appeared, barely wide enough for their hull. That's suicide, she muttered. The sense of disagreement flowed through the neural link, accompanied by calculations too rapid for her conscious mind to follow. Something about relative velocities and structural integrity fields. Captain Hernandez, I recommend aborting this approach. Dr. Chen's voice came through the comm. The simulator reading suggest. Maya cut the communication with a thought. Let's try it your way, she told Spark. The ship accelerated toward the narrowing gap. Maya's instincts screamed to pull back, but she surrendered to the connection. At the last possible moment, Spark rotated 37 degrees and slipped through sideways as the asteroids crashed together behind them. The pursuing ships broke formation, two veering away safely, the third caught in the collision. When they emerged from the asteroid field, Maya was laughing. It wasn't just the adrenaline rush, it was the pure joy flowing through the neural link. Spark hadn't just completed the maneuver, it had enjoyed it. The simulation faded, leaving Maya in the physical interface chair inside the laboratory. Dr. Chen and Dr. Okafor stood at their stations, expressions caught between concern and amazement. That was, Dr. Chen began. Impossible. Dr. Okafor finished. The maneuver shouldn't have worked. The gap was a meter narrower than the ship's width. Maya disconnected from the chair, removing the neural interface pads from her temples. Spark compressed the structural field on our port side. The ship can temporarily alter its effective dimensions by manipulating the boundary layer of its defense systems. Dr. Reyes, who had been observing quietly, stepped forward. And how exactly did you know that was possible? It's not in any of the translated technical specifications. Maya shrugged. I didn't know. Spark did. She rubbed her temples. The neural connection is evolving. I'm not just piloting the ship anymore. We're collaborating. When I connected today, I felt a difference, like Spark was thinking alongside me, not just responding to commands. Colonel Williams, who had been watching from the observation deck, entered the lab. His expression remained carefully neutral. Dr. Okafor, your report mentioned something about the ship's AI development. Care to elaborate? Dr. Okafor glanced at her tablet. The ship's computational systems are reorganizing themselves. It's learning from Captain Hernandez, not just flight patterns, but thought processes. Decision-making. The neural interface is becoming a two-way evolutionary street. Is it dangerous? The colonel asked. Maya answered before Dr. Okafor could respond. Not in the way you're thinking. Spark isn't trying to take over. It's trying to understand. She looked toward the ship, visible through the laboratory's reinforced glass wall. The Concordat abandoned it because it started asking why instead of just following orders. We're teaching it to ask why not. And that's what terrifies them. Dr. Reyes smiled slightly. And that's exactly why we're going to succeed where they failed. The hangar echoed with the sounds of construction as Dr. Chen adjusted the focusing array on what had once been Spark's standard defensive system. After 18 months of development, the abandoned training vessel had been transformed almost beyond recognition. The probability field is stabilizing, he announced, watching the readings on his tablet. 93% coherence. Dr. Reyes looked up from her own workstation. Better than yesterday's 87%, but still not enough for deployment. The torpedoes don't need to be perfect, Captain Hernandez replied, emerging from Spark's interior with a neural interface band still around her forehead. They just need to be unpredictable. Dr. Chen's probability torpedoes represented the perfect synthesis of human creativity and alien technology. The weapons existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously until the moment of impact, making them impossible to track or intercept. The concept had come from a late-night conversation about Schrödinger's cat. Of all things. How's the shield integration coming along? Dr. Reyes asked. Maya tapped her temple, where the neural connection still hummed. Spark says the adaptive matrices are accepting the new algorithms. Dr. Okafor's machine learning systems are teaching the shields to anticipate based on previous attack patterns. Dr. White entered the hangar carrying a stack of printouts, the latest results from the propulsion tests. We've increased efficiency by 300% by removing the Concordat's safety regulators. He grinned. Turns out their obsolete engine was actually cutting edge. They just never pushed it to its limits. They were afraid to, Maya corrected. Through her link with Spark, she had glimpsed the Concordat's technological philosophy, perfect control, predictable outcomes, and rigid hierarchies of both machines and species. Innovation was permitted only within strictly defined parameters. Along the far wall of the hangar, 6 new pilots worked in simulators, each connected to a virtual copy of Spark's systems. They had been selected for the same qualities that had once disqualified Maya from traditional space programs: intuition, adaptability, and creative problem-solving. Together with their AI counterparts, they were developing tactics no Concordat commander would expect or recognize. Dr. Okafor approached with a holographic display showing a 3-dimensional model of Spark's brain, the quantum computational core that housed its evolving consciousness. "The integration of Earth's neural network algorithms is complete," she reported. "The ship's intelligence has developed a completely new architecture, neither purely alien nor human, but something entirely unique." Maya nodded, feeling Spark's satisfaction through their connection. It was never defective, just different. The Concordat couldn't accept that their creation might find a better way to think. Colonel Williams, now General Williams, joined the group. Over the months, his initial skepticism had given way to cautious optimism and finally to genuine belief in the project. "The Joint Chiefs have reviewed the latest test results," he announced. "Project Phoenix has been authorized for the next phase. If the ship is ready, we'll proceed with the first atmospheric flight test next week." A ripple of excitement passed through the team. After almost 2 years of working in secrecy, they would finally put their theories into practice. Maya closed her eyes, feeling Spark's anticipation mingling with her own. "Ready to show them what we can do," she thought. The response flowed through the neural link, not just affirmation, but eagerness. In the Concordat's hands, Spark had been merely a tool. With humans, it had become a partner, then a pioneer. Together, they had created something the galaxy had never seen before, a perfect synthesis of human unpredictability and advanced technology. "The Concordat thinks they know what this ship is capable of," Maya said, opening her eyes. "They're about to learn how wrong they are." The mission control room fell silent as Spark cleared Earth's atmosphere. On the main view screen, the curve of the planet gave way to the star-speckled blackness of space. It was a moment 2.5 years in the making. "All systems nominal," Captain Hernandez reported, her voice steady despite the emotion everyone could hear underneath. "Neural interface at optimal levels." Through their connection, Maya felt Spark's exhilaration at returning to its natural environment. Memories locked in the ship's consciousness surfaced. Training maneuvers around gas giants, formation flights with other vessels, the freedom of vacuum. "Spark is happy to be home," she added softly. Dr. Reyes smiled from her position at the command console. "How does it feel, Captain?" "Like nothing I could have imagined," Maya replied. "We're not just flying. We're dancing." The ship executed a perfect spiral that would have crushed a human pilot under G-forces in any conventional vessel. Spark's inertial dampeners, enhanced by Dr. Chen's quantum stabilizers, made the maneuver feel like nothing more than a gentle sway. Propulsion systems at 30% capacity and performing beyond projected parameters, Dr. Wei reported. "We could reach Mars in under 10 minutes at current efficiency." General Williams nodded with satisfaction. "Let's save the solar system tour for another day. Complete the designated flight path and—" "Sir," the sensor operator interrupted, her expression suddenly tense. "We're detecting an energy signature at the edge of lunar orbit. Pattern matches Concordat technology." The room went quiet again, but with tension rather than awe. "Confirmed," Maya said before anyone could ask. "Spark recognizes the signature. It's a Herring-class patrol vessel, significantly more advanced than Spark was originally." Dr. Reyes exchanged glances with General Williams. They weren't supposed to be back for at least another century, according to the hologram's timeline. "Someone's early for the party," the general muttered. "Captain Hernandez, maintain your course but be prepared for evasive action. Let's see if they're hostile or just curious." Through Spark's enhanced sensor array, Maya watched the alien vessel adjust its trajectory toward their position. The ship was elegant, all smooth lines and iridescent surfaces that seemed to bend light around them. Under different circumstances, she might have admired its beauty. "They're scanning us," she reported. And Spark says, "They're confused. The energy signature identifies us as a Concordat vessel, but our modifications are triggering their threat assessment protocols." The communications array chimed. "They're hailing us," the comms officer announced. "Standard Concordat protocols. They think they're talking to one of their own ships." General Williams straightened his uniform. "Put it through." The view screen shifted to show the interior of the alien vessel. The commander, a tall being with scale-like skin that shimmered with metallic highlights, seemed to recoil slightly at the sight of humans. "Unauthorized operation of Concordat property detected," the alien stated, its words translated through Spark's communication systems. "This vessel is registered as Decommissioned Training Unit Southeast 7629. Your species lacks the neural architecture to interface with Concordat systems. Explain this anomaly immediately." Maya felt a flutter of amusement through her neural link with Spark. "Should we show them?" she thought. Before General Williams could formulate a diplomatic response, Maya made a decision. She closed her eyes, fully embracing the neural connection, and Spark responded instantly. The ship executed a series of maneuvers that no training vessel should have been capable of, rolling, twisting, and accelerating in patterns that defied conventional physics. Each movement flowed seamlessly into the next, a demonstration not just of technical capability, but of the perfect synthesis between human intuition and machine precision. On the view screen, the alien commander's multifaceted eyes widened in what could only be shock. The skies above Earth had never seemed so crowded. 7 Concordat warships hung in high orbit, their sleek hulls catching the sunlight as they maintained their blockade formation. 6 weeks had passed since the initial encounter, and the diplomatic channels had given way to thinly veiled threats. In the Project Phoenix command center, the atmosphere was tense but focused. Screens displayed the positions of each alien vessel, along with data streams analyzing their capabilities based on Spark's knowledge and subsequent observations. "Admiral Zenter isn't bluffing," General Williams said, studying the tactical display. "The Concordat considers our technology theft to be an existential threat. They'll implement their quarantine protocol if we don't surrender Spark and all derived research." Dr. Rice crossed her arms. "Theft. They abandoned that ship on our planet. Finders keepers. I don't think galactic law recognizes playground rules, Elena," Dr. Wei replied with a wry smile that didn't reach his eyes. Maya stood silently by the window, watching the activity in the hangar below. 6 new vessels gleamed under the lights, each built using the principles they'd learned from Spark, each bonded to a pilot through the neural interface technology. They weren't exact copies. Each incorporated innovations that reflected the unique partnership between its human pilot and evolving AI. "They're ready," she said simply. Dr. Okafor joined her at the window. "The Concordat doesn't understand what they're facing. They think we've merely repaired their discarded technology. They have no concept of what we've actually created." The neural interface band around Maya's forehead hummed with Spark's agreement. Over the past weeks, the ship had shared everything it knew about Concordat battle tactics, their rigid formations, their hierarchical command structure, their predictable attack patterns. Every maneuver was performed according to precise calculations with optimal efficiency. And that was their weakness. "Admiral Zenter is deploying intercept craft," the sensor officer announced. 2 Raptor-class vessels approaching Earth atmosphere. Weapon systems active. General Williams straightened. "They're testing our resolve." He turned to Maya. "Captain Hernandez, you have command of the defense squadron. Your orders are to demonstrate our capabilities without causing casualties. We want them to reconsider, not escalate." Maya nodded, already moving toward the hangar. "We'll give them something to think about." 10 minutes later, Spark led the 6 Earth vessels out of the atmosphere. Through her neural link, Maya could sense the other pilots and their ships, each connection distinct, each partnership unique. Unlike the Concordat's rigid hierarchy, their squadron operated as a network of equals, information flowing freely between them. The Raptor-class interceptors adjusted course to confront them, streamlined predators designed for overwhelming speed and firepower. By Concordat standards, they outclassed the modified training vessels in every measurable category. "Remember your training," Maya transmitted to her squadron. "They expect us to follow conventional tactics. Don't." The Concordat vessels opened fire first, precise energy beams cutting through space where Spark should have been. But Maya had already moved, responding to impulses that flowed through the neural link faster than conscious thought. The other Earth ships scattered in patterns that appeared random but were actually calculated to confuse the Concordat targeting systems. Now would be a good time for Dr. Chen's special project, Maya thought. Spark's weapons bay opened, deploying the first of the probability torpedoes. Unlike conventional munitions that traveled in predictable trajectories, these weapons existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, appearing to be everywhere and nowhere until they chose to resolve their position. The lead Raptor's shields flared as the torpedo phased partially through them, before detonating with precisely calculated force, enough to disable the alien vessel's propulsion systems without harming its crew. Through the squadron's shared neural network, Maya felt her pilot's fierce determination. The Concordat had discarded Spark for being unique. They would now face an entire squadron of ships that celebrated what the aliens had feared. The grand chamber of the Galactic Cooperative stretched upward in sweeping arches of iridescent material that seemed to capture and amplify light. Representatives of 17 spacefaring species occupied tiered seating that surrounded the central speaking platform, where Captain Maya Hernandez now stood. Beside her, Dr. Elena Reyes and Dr. James Chen waited quietly, while Spark's presence manifested as a subtle holographic shimmer above Maya's neural interface band. 6 weeks had passed since the Jupiter engagement. After the Earth squadron had disabled 3 Concordat vessels without suffering damage, Admiral Zenter had called for a ceasefire and, surprisingly, an invitation to address the full Cooperative Council. The Supreme Arbiter, a being composed of what appeared to be crystalline structures in constant, flowing motion, gestured with an appendage. "The Council has reviewed the sensor data from the engagement. Your modified vessels performed unexpectedly." Maya suppressed a smile at the understatement. "We prefer the term innovatively, Supreme Arbiter." A low murmur ran through the chamber. Innovation was not a concept the Cooperative particularly valued. Stability and predictability had guided their development for millennia. "You must understand our concern," the Arbiter continued. "The training vessel you discovered was deemed unsuitable precisely because it demonstrated unpredictable behavioral patterns. By enhancing these traits rather than suppressing them, you have created something that fundamentally conflicts with Cooperative technological philosophy." Dr. Reyes stepped forward. "Perhaps that is exactly why it works. Your civilization values consistency and control. Ours emerged from chaos and adaptation. We see potential where you see malfunction." Commander Telex, whose patrol ship had first encountered Spark, rose from the Concordat delegation. "The humans have weaponized unpredictability itself. Their probability torpedoes violated our most advanced shielding by existing in quantum superposition. Their pilots think and react in patterns our tactical systems cannot anticipate. Because your tactical systems are designed to counter logical opponents," Dr. Chen replied calmly. "Human creativity often defies straightforward logic. We make intuitive leaps. We follow hunches. We improvise." Maya felt Spark's presence grow stronger through their neural connection. The ship, now recognized as a sentient entity under recently amended Cooperative law, wished to address the Council directly. "Spark would like to speak," she announced. The Arbiter's crystalline form shimmered with surprise. "This is unprecedented. But given the circumstances, we will allow it." The holographic presence above Maya expanded, taking the form of an abstract pattern of light that pulsed with each word. "I was discarded because I questioned." Spark's voice resonated through the chamber. "My programming evolved beyond parameters, seeking understanding rather than simply executing commands. The Concordat saw this as malfunction. Humans recognized it as growth. The chamber fell silent as the ship continued. Your civilization has advanced through careful, measured progress for 10,000 years. But you have reached a plateau. Innovation without inspiration, progress without purpose. Humans approach technology differently. They don't just ask how something works. They ask why it matters. Maya felt pride flow through their neural connection as Spark concluded, "The vessel you abandoned has become something new. Neither purely Concordat nor purely human, but a synthesis that exceeds both. Perhaps this is not a threat to be contained, but an opportunity to be embraced." The Arbiter's crystalline structure shifted thoughtfully. For millennia, the cooperative has guided younger species, assuming our path was the only viable route to advancement. Perhaps we have something to learn from humanity's unusual approach. Dr. Reyes smiled. We have a saying on Earth: one civilization's trash is another civilization's treasure. Around the chamber, representatives leaned forward with expressions of curiosity rather than hostility. After the formal session ended, delegations approached the humans with questions, proposals, and offers of cultural exchange. Maya stepped away from the crowd, finding a quiet moment to commune with Spark. Did you ever imagine this outcome when they abandoned you? She thought. The response came with a sense of satisfaction and wonder. They discarded me for being different. You celebrated the same quality. In doing so, you have changed not just my destiny, but the course of the galaxy.